So if you can see in the browser, this image is very big, but in our application it is very small. So you can see that it has compressed automatically. But can we scroll through all the image in all the way? Like I can access it completely with zooming and all those things. Means yes. So we can do that using our scroll view. So scroll view, you can see it everywhere. Without a scroll view, I don't think there is any application. You always need a scroll to show content on your app. So this is a basic iPhone screen. So in that you have a scroll view and you have some pagination here. You can scroll through all the applications. So how do you add normal views? Normal views will be added using add subview method. So let's say I have an Apple logo. I will be able to add the logo here directly. But let's say I have a bigger image which is in this size, and my iPhone screen is in this size, but my image is in this size. So if I add that image view, what happens is you will be not able to see the complete image. This will be the image shown unless you are compressing that image and showing it on your screen, like whatever we have did. Now, to get rid of this situation, so we are going to use scroll views. So how are we going to add subviews to this scroll views means? So the first thing is like you have to set what should be the content size of for that image or a scroll view. So let's say you have a width of 3000 and a height of 2000 for that scroll view, and then you add any image or a subview to that scroll view. It's here. So create a frame for that subview and add this view to the subview. So this should be scroll view. So your logo will be added to the content. And now then add your image, whatever size it is, to that content view, content size or the scroll view. So if the content size is 3000 and 2000, your image will be in this way and your logo is somewhere here like this. So whenever you view it, so it will be in this manner. So whenever you change or scroll, your phone application will be showing this content in this manner. So at the end you will have the logo and the image. So now let us position these subviews perfectly. Let me add the Apple logo to the bottom at some point, and let me change the origin of my subview to 00 in that content size. And I don't want an extra space to be seen here. So for that reason, what I will do is I will make the content size as nothing but the size of the image. So if you do this, you will be able to view only the image but not any white space other than the images. So then it will look in this manner. So whenever you scroll your application, it will be in this way. So in this way, you will be able to scroll or zoom in or access each and every content of that very bigger image or any view. Images for an example here. So you have this image scroll view and the user is scrolling automatically. How to get the position where the user is or what region is user looking at? That thing you can get it using the content offset. The content offset is nothing but it is a point. Point means the x distance from the left edge and the top distance. That will be your content offset point. It is a CG point. So the upper left visible point will be your content offset. and the view, whatever you are viewing, will be bounds. So remember, that is not frame, that is bounds. Bounds is in its own coordinate system and frame will be in the superview's coordinate system. Now, what is a rect? What is a visible rect there? That is nothing but the frame which we are talking. So whatever the view we are showing. So let's say this image view has 00, 2000 and 1600. So if the user is here, then it will be somewhere, the X will be maybe 1000 and the Y is 300 and the width is 320 by 640. It will be in that way. Now, you have seen the properties and how a US scroll view works. Now, let us look at how to create one. So, creating a UI scroll view is nothing but it's just like a UI view. So, you can always use alloc init, or if you wanted a scroll view inside a view, then you can go to editor and say embed in scroll view. So, this option will also work, but this will be mainly useful whenever you are going to use auto layout. So if you are going to add an image, you need this image view. So first get the image, then get the image view, then get the frame size of that image view. That should be equal to the size of the image, and then add that image view to the scroll view. Image is whatever you wanted to show. Image view will be the container for that image, and this image view is added to that scroll view. If you want to add some more subviews, you can always add it using the frame. And the last and final, or the most important thing, is setting the content size. So sometimes what you do is you will set everything and forget to set the content size, and you will be checking and rechecking what happened, it is not scrolling and all those things. So it is very important to set the content size. Now, the scrolling, user can scroll it, zoom in or pinch out for zoom out and do all those things. Can we do all those things in programmatically in code? That means yes. So you can always use this method, scroll rect to visible, which will scroll it using some animations on the screen to the rectangle that is best possible to show it. So if you give 10, 10, 150, 200, so it will automatically move to that rectangle that is nothing but the frame or the bounds where the image is present. So if you wanted to see where it is scrolling, you can always add the flash scroll indicators. Whenever you scroll, you will be able to see the side bar. So that bar you can always add it. So you can always say which side or which direction to scroll. Is it the complete scroll, or you can only scroll in one way, one direction, or what should be the inset, what should be the value that is already inside for that scroll view. You can set all those properties. Now coming to zooming, so zooming is nothing but it is an affine transform. So whenever you set some zoom scale, so the image view will automatically add some transform to the image that is present in it. So transform is nothing but translate, scale and rotate. So you can have rotate, but I don't think it is possible for this image view. So for zooming, you will have scale. So whenever you pinch in or pinch out, it will do a zoom in or zoom out. So you can, how to set this, how to add zooming for your image views or the scroll view is nothing but just add 2 lines of code. That is nothing but set a minimum zoom scale and set a maximum zoom scale. So zooming will only work if you set minimum zoom scale and maximum zoom scale. And the most important part is implement this delegate method. So without this delegate method, scroll view will not know which view to zoom in. So this method will return a UI view. So it will say scroll view that zoom in this view. So if you have 2 or 3 views inside the scroll view, and if you just wanted to zoom in only one view, then you are going to return a single view. That view which you return here will only be zoomed, and the other view will not be zoomed. So if you want to do that programmatically, you can access the zoom using zoom scale property that is in UI scroll view. And if you want to set some zoom scale programmatically, you can use set zoom scale or zoom to rect. So if you use scroll to rect, that whatever we have seen here, the image will not be zoomed in. So whatever the CG rect you give, that will be exactly fitted at the topmost corner. But if you say zoom to rect, then it will zoom to fit that rectangle on the screen. So zoom scale it is 1.2 and zoom scale 1.0. So the image here it is not exactly, so that you can view that 0.2 difference there. Now if you say zoom to rect, let's say I have given this rect. This is the best example you can get to know what is zoom to rect. You have a square here and you wanted to zoom to this rectangle inside that. So whenever you call that method, it will exactly fit in that rect. It will check the maximum possibility way to fit that rectangle whatever you give. If you give a more height one, so it will automatically fit that height and leave some width. Now here we have more width and the width is exactly fit. So if you give a more width, it will zoom out and have a minimum. So if it is less than the rectangle whatever you are seeing, it will zoom out, and if it is greater than the rectangle whatever you are seeing on the screen, it will zoom in. That's how it works, zoom to rect. And we have lot of delegate methods that will tell you whenever your view is scrolling or view is zooming. So we'll see all those methods but not used in this demo. So let's go for demo of this UI scroll view. So let's use the same project here, whichever we are using it. And let me remove this line of code and this one. And in my storyboard right now, I don't want my image view. I want to have a scroll view there. So let me select it first and delete it. So I have this image view, delete it. And now I will add a scroll view there. Let me get a and add it to the screen. Let me get it below navigation bar. So I have my scroll view and I'm going to create an IB outlet for that scroll view. Control drag it to your interface file and say scroll view. I don't want this image view now. Let me remove it. Let me hide everything. And here I'm going to create some more setters and getters here. Now, in my viewDid load, the first thing I have to do is I have to add my image view. So get my scroll view and add my image view there. Before adding, let us create some properties. I need an image view. So you can reuse the same image view, but that will be open to all the classes. That is a public variable, but I don't want it to be a public variable. I need only image URL and the scroll view as a public one. And so I will add all my properties here. So I need an image view, and I need an image. I already have a spinner. Now my first task is nothing but add subview self.image. Okay, so I am saying self.scrollView, but where is my scroll view? It is already present. So let me set some things by default. So whenever my self.scrollView is called, I need a custom setter. Void set scroll view, and here I will say I will access my local variable, that is nothing but scroll view, and set whatever the scroll view it is called from the interface builder. Now let me set the minimum and maximum zoom scale here. Let me give it 2.0, and for any delegate methods to be called, I will give it a self. That is nothing but all the delegate methods are implemented inside this scroll view. It has an warning because we did not implement this delegate. So you can always implement these delegates either in .h file or .m file, but we are going to do it in .m file. So UI scroll view delegate. So when I do that, you will not get that warning again. And then I need to set content size. My content size is nothing but the size of my image. So if I have my image, that is nothing but self.image, then get the size of that self.image.size, or else return 0. So CG size 0. So this will help us in setting the frame of the scroll view always. So whenever you are getting a new image, so you can set the size of the scroll view to that image. Now in this viewDid load, we are also accessing the image view. Write a getter for this image view. So whenever you are going to get this image view, image view star, so the Xcode will automatically prompt you for this. If you don't have any image view, then alloc any data. And then we are going to return this image view. Okay, and the main part is okay, else return nil. So if I have that image view, it will return in the image view. Sorry, this return should be outside. So if I already have an image view, it will directly execute this return, or if I don't have it, we are going to create it and return that. Now let us have some setters for image also. So whenever I get a new image, that is nothing but I have got a new image from the download task. I wanted to update it to my image view. And if I want to get an image, I don't want to save that image always, and I will always return it from my image view whatever I have. So this is what we are doing. Let's say image has a very big size of 1 MB or 2 MB. It is already processed by the image view. I don't need to store it in my class again and increase my memory size. So what I will do is, so whenever I am accessing an image, I will get the image from the image view. And for my setter, should be void set image and image. So whenever I get a new image, I'm going to set my image view. And say one line of code dot image size to fit. So what this size to fit will do is, so it will calculate the size of the image automatically and update the frame of the image view to it. So you don't need to calculate the size and set the frame in your code. So whatever the size of the image is present, it will automatically set it. And here, so whenever there is an image set, there will be change in the content size. So we are going to copy the same line of code that we wrote in the set scroll view and add it to the image. So whenever there is a new image set, so the scroll view content size should be automatically set. Now let us try to run it. Okay, the problem is here we are setting the image view image, but we need to set our image. We have written code in that way that whenever you set an image, it should be updated. So whatever the image you have got, it should be score weak self. Okay, now let us run it. Just remove the breakpoint. So you have got that image. So this is exactly, and you can see some scroll indicators at the right side and at the bottom. So this is the image whatever we are downloading it. If you want to zoom out, click on option, you will be able to see these two buttons on the screen and use it. But we are not able to zoom in or zoom out. Can anyone of you tell the reason? Because we did not implement the delegate method which returns my view which should be zoomed in or zoomed out. View for zooming is scroll view and say return self dot image view. Now if you run it and you can use it for zooming now. I have an answer from Siddhartha. Yes, Siddhartha, that was correct. So we have confirmed to the delegate, but we did not implement that delegate method, whichever that is needed for the zooming. Now let us see what are all the methods we have in the scroll view delegate. So whenever you scroll, these are all the optional methods. You have scroll view did scroll. Whenever there is a small change in the scroll, this method will be called. So whenever you zoom it in, so scroll view did zoom, so you can confer it by the name whatever you can see here. So did end dragging, will begin decelerating. So scroll view will begin zooming. So if you wanted to do some animations or show some buttons whenever you are zooming in, you can use this method and add some more methods there. So that's for the UI scroll view. Do you have any doubts? That's good. You have no doubts, Shivarama. So let us go to the next topic, that is nothing but table view. So we have seen the scroll view which can show a lot of content in it. That is nothing but you can set the content size and you can scroll it to any size you want. Here, if you wanted to show a data, that is nothing but structured data. You have it in some SQLite tables and all those things. How do you show that? That is nothing but we will use a UI table view. They are nothing but one-dimensional tables. So if you see a normal settings app or any music application, so you will be able to understand what a table view is. So this table view, we have a lot of properties in it and lot of types in it. It should be a plain or grouped or static or dynamic. So if it is a static table view, you are going to tell you are going to design each and every cell or the row in the interface builder itself. If it is a dynamic, you are going to implement all the data source methods and then show all those things on the view. So what all applications or what all you can do using this UI table view? So if you see the App Store application and if you search for some results, let's say I have searched for Temple Run, so it will show all the results in a table view. So you can see that first row is nothing but my Temple Run 1. So it has some icon, button and some screenshots. In the same way, if you see the music application, you have some more buttons and then you have the songs whatever you have on your device. And the latest Myntra application, so this is a e-commerce application that Myntra has launched recently. So they also use a table view for scrolling and for showing different categories. When should you use a UI table view? So if you wanted to show a structured data and navigate the user through the data, then you are going to use a table view. If you wanted to select some elements out of many options, then you are going to use a table view. Or if you want to show some elements in groups, so 10 elements in one group, 10 elements in other group, then you are going to use a table view. So what does this table view consist of, and what are the parts of the table view? So each table view is divided into sections, and you can design what sections you want and how many rows you want for a section. So if you see a single table view, it will always have a header and the section or the content and a footer. So if you wanted to set something like a copyright instruction for that application or for that view, you can always set it in the table view footer, because that will be visible only once. So if you wanted to have a title for whole that table, you can have a header. So the content, it is mainly consists of a sections. So these sections are nothing but, again, they will have a section header, they will have cells inside it, and a section footer. So these sections, they will be repeated inside the table view. You can mention how many sections you want and how many rows you want per each section in your data source methods. So this section consists of all the rows. What each row will consist of is nothing but, again, each row will have a content and an accessory view at the right. So if your cell is selectable or editable, then you will have an editable accessory at the left part. So you can have a left accessory, a right accessory, and the content in the middle. So if you put everything at a place, this is how it looks. The table header is here, the table footer is here. So for each and every section, you will have header and footer again. This is header for the section 0, this is footer for the header section 0. This is the header for section 1, this is the footer for section 1. And these are the rows. So each and all the sections and rows will be 0 indexed, and they will be starting from 0, 1, 2, and etc. These tables, depending upon how they look, they can be categorized as plain and grouped. So if it is a plain, you will not have any difference between the rows. But if it is a grouped, they will be grouped using the header. So let's say in your maps application, if you wanted to show in the preferences of that maps application, if you wanted to show the distance in miles or kilometers, this is a completely different group. And map labels, should you show it in English, that is different section, and directions is a different section again. The similar way the table has different styles, we also have different styles for the cell types. So the cell type, we have basically 4 cell types, or else if you don't want to use any of these 4, so you can always create a custom cell using the prototype cells or a separate XIB file and a UI table view cell subclass. So these cells are all subclasses of UI table view cell. So you have the basic or the default one. So the default one will have an image view and a label. The subtitle style will have an image view, the title, and the subtitle also. The left detail will have the label or the title on your left side and subtitle on your right side. And for right detail, it is reverse. So the subtitle will be highlighted in right detail and the title will be highlighted in left detail. So you can use any of these styles for your implementation. If you don't like these, or if you wanted to implement something that is different like Myntra app or App Store app, you have to implement your custom table view or custom table view cell where you can design yourselves. Now, how to add this table view to the storyboard? So let's reuse the same project and I will add some more view controllers to the same thing. So let this be here itself. Let me get a view controller and add it here. So this view controller, it is a subclass of UI view controller, and if you wanted to show something, you need an table view object, UI table view, and set its data source and delegate. But we have another object called table view controller, which already has some prototype cells, and its delegates and data sources will be set automatically for that table view. So instead of a self.view property in UI table view controller, it will be self.table view. Your table view is your view in a table view controller. And I need a navigation controller for navigation. So let me select this and embed in a navigation controller to that. So now I need a class that will hold my table view controller. So I have my view and I need a controller. So let me select this, file, new, file, coquarters class. This should be a subclass of UI table view controller, and so here we will take a use case again, and so we will get what are all the photos or pictures that are posted to Flickr and get those details and use their details to show them in a table view. So let's say photos table view controller and add it. So I have this photos table view controller. Go to your class and say it is nothing but photos table view controller. So in this, what all we need? So we have seen how to add it, how to change the class, and check the delegate and data sources, and we have to see the styles. So if you right click, select this table view controller and right click on it, so it will show what are all the data sources and delegates that are assigned to that view controller. So we have the data source for the table view and delegate for the table view. Data source is nothing but these are the protocol methods which give data for that table view. So you need data to display on the table view, and you will use all the data source protocol methods there. So delegate methods are for any action that is done on the table view, they will indicate you that this action has been done. So let's say you edit some rows, you have some delegate method there. You click on some row, you have some delegate method called did select row at index path. So that method will be called. So, and to show any data in the table view, you need a data source methods. We'll see what are the data source method. So if you see what are all the attributes you have for this table view, so you can select the table view and check what all you have. So you can change the content to static cells or dynamic properties always. So the dynamic properties will be creating cells dynamically at runtime. So depending upon the data source methods. If you give static cells, whatever you design in the interface builder in the prototype cells, that will be given. So if you say static, you will not have prototype cells. So you have to click on each of them and select them and run them. So but I am going to have a basic style, and okay, we have selected a table view. So I'm going to have a dynamic prototypes. Now you have a style plain or grouped. So if it is a group, you can see the difference in the UI there. So it will say you have some different group. Let us go back to plain. And the separator. Do you need any separator? If you need any single line separator, you can use that, or if you don't need any separator, you can say none, but the default one would be a single line. You can also give some separator insets there. So these are all the things you have. So if you need any indicators that are nothing but the flash indicators, you can use check this or uncheck this. The scroll indicators will be visible whenever you check it. So it will show a scroll indicator wherever what is the position you have in the table view. So that is we have the slides, and next we have to see. So we have our table view in the interface builder, and we need some data to be displayed in it. So to do that, we need data source and delegate. So as I said already, this table view is nothing but the self.view property in a normal view controller. So what are the data source methods we have? Basically we have 3 required data source method, and the other data source methods are optional. You may or may not implement them. If you want to have a look, let us look at all those data source methods now. So let me go to photo view controller and select this table view controller. So if you select that, you can see it has 2 protocol declarations. One is table view delegate and the other is table view data source. So if I select the table view data source, you will be able to see you have a required section and you have an optional section. Okay, we have 2 required methods there. The first method is number of rows in a section. So by default, number of sections is 1. If you don't implement that method, so the default value will be taken as 1. The next method is number of rows. How many rows you have to show in each section. That is decided by this method. And how to show the cell inside the table is decided by this method, cell_for_row at index path. So you have other methods called number of sections in table, or whatever we have discussed, the title or the header or the footer. So all of them will come under data source. So title for header in section, this is for header section header, and this method title for footer in section, this is for section footer. So these things, they will return an N string. That means you don't need to have a different view there. It will automatically set according to the system fonts and all those things. But if you want to have a different view, you can always use view for header at in section. So you will have that method and you can use it. This is the method you have for having a separate view. So this method, what it will do is it will return a UI view. You have to create your own UI view and you have to return that UI view. So if you use title for header in section, so it will always return a string and you will have a predefined font and color for that thing. but here you can design whatever you want. You can add an image view there, you can add a scroll view, you can do anything, whatever you want in that view, and return it.